So I'm back at Mountainside with my friend Twan. Twan, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And Twan made a big splash. If you didn't know, Twan is the mind, body, spirit, holistic guru of Mountainside. I use the word guru loosely.
Yeah.
What's the real title?
The real title is Wellness Director of Programming.
The Wellness Director of Programming. That's a big title.
It's a big title, yes.
It's a lot to do.
Mm-hmm.
And Twan is masterful at the sound bowl, meditation. What's your day like, day to day?
My day-to-day used to be much different than it is right now. Now that I got promoted to Director of Programming, I do a lot of work in the other sites. Like today I'm in New York City onboarding a new staff member that's going to be giving wellness services here in Chelsea. But yeah, I used to, one of the first things I used to do is take my shoes off and go into the yoga studio and do some meditation, some yoga, things like that. And as I started getting promoted throughout the company, it's been more administrative work. So it's a little less of what I'd like to do, but now I'm able to see the entire company as a whole and to help people that way. So
right, it becomes macro to micro,
exactly,
and like program to actual practice of program.
Yeah. So I've got my fingers into everything, but people don't see that my fingers are there.
Well, that's a masterful thing in itself.
Yeah.
Now, something bad happened to Twan. Something horrible after his Dopey experience.
It might have been because of Dopey. I'm not sure.
I am full of myself enough to believe that's possible. He went on Dopey. You guys loved him. And then I came back the next week, and I was like, where's Twan? Let's record. And they were like, oh, Twan's not here.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, where's Twan? And they were very quiet about it. Mm-hmm. And then after lots of probing, I found out that you were taking a leave of absence.
I was, yep.
Will you tell us what happened?
Sure, absolutely. I took a medical leave of absence in the middle of January, and I am a human being like everybody else.
No.
And I hit a
Say it ain't so, Twan.
Yeah, I know. It ruined my own ego as well, but I hit a patch of depression where I just lost confidence in myself and what I was doing and that I could help people. And it just came out of nowhere. And the greatest thing about it was that Mountainside was they were so supportive in me taking time off, and they helped me through the entire process. I came back better than before, and now I'm just so grateful for the entire experience, because I know that what I found out was that I was not taking care of myself. I had no boundaries between my work life and my regular life. The things that I was telling clients to do, I wasn't doing myself. And I had to put together my own self-care plan for myself during those 2 months away. And now the challenge for me is to find out, or not find out, but to continue doing the things that I was doing while I was on leave and integrating work into that so that I can be better than I was before.
That sounds good. It sounds like Mountainside's a good place to work. Maybe I need a job at Mountainside just in case things go bad for me. But I'm always teetering on the edge of depression and self-doubt. But I want you to take us through, like when I was here.
Yep.
When was it? December? January?
I think we did in December, yeah.
So where were you in depression ranged then?
I felt it coming on.
So describe that, please.
When I would wake up in the morning, I would hit my snooze button as many times as I felt like I needed to, and at the absolute last time, I would get up for work. There was times when I didn't want to go into work. I felt like it was more of a responsibility to come into work than it was because I was feeling it in my heart, and it was just not a good feeling that I was feeling. But I kept it to myself because I felt like I could push through it and that things would get better. And I just felt really overwhelmed, and I didn't share it with anybody, especially my network and people in recovery. I just kept it to myself.
Well, do you think, like, as the director of the Mind, Body, Spirit program, if you are depressed, then you're not worth being the director of the Mind, Body, Spirit?
Absolutely. I felt like a complete fraud, that I was telling people to do certain things to get out of depression, out of anxiety, and I wasn't doing it myself.
So when you have that realization, how do you deal with it? Like, because people go to you.
Yep.
Like, I'm depressed, Twan. What do I do? I don't feel good, Twan. What do I do? And you say, Like when you advise somebody, when you were advising people, because I guess here's a bigger question. We're talking kind of about imposter syndrome.
Absolutely.
So like when does imposter syndrome not happen? Let's start there.
When does imposter syndrome not happen? For me, it rarely doesn't not happen.
Well, I can relate.
And I also believe that if you don't have imposter syndrome, then you're on the other side.
You're a sociopath?
You're a sociopath. Yeah. I think everybody should have a level of imposter syndrome.
Because there's humility built into it.
There's humility built into it, and it's also like, I know that there's a lot out there that I don't know, and it gives you room to grow.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It gives you room. I totally agree with that. But what about fake it till you make it?
Fake it till you, I love fake it till you make it. I rarely feel like I've made it, though. And it's just that little voice in the back of my head that says you're still not good enough, that you're not good at what you're doing, and you are really fooling people. So let's keep it under wraps, because if people really know what's going on with you, then they're not going to like you. Your company is going to get rid of you, and who knows what's going to happen if you are really true to what's going on inside.
I think this is a fantastic conversation because I'm
already nervous.
Don't be. Why are you nervous?
No idea.
Because now I feel better because I'm so in this space all the time. You know what I mean? Like I get up. I guess this morning I snoozed, but I wake up. I wake up way too early. Like, and it's not because I'm like dying to face the day. It's just because my brain, the neuroses alarm kicks off, and I don't get to go back to sleep. When I want to trace the actual story, and then I want to talk theory about the story. So it's January. You're a star on the biggest addiction recovery podcast there is. Every people are writing. Everybody loves Twan. You saved everybody's life. Things are good. And in the back of your head, you're like, I'm a fraud. I'm not. And like, what are you going to say?
The podcast didn't come out until I took leave.
So
I didn't
that was like
even
icing
know,
on the cake.
So I didn't even know that was even happening. And then I remember you called me and said it was out. And this was like while I was in the midst of just being in bed.
Yeah, I remember that actually now.
I was not feeling well at all. And even that didn't even cheer me up. It was just like...
You were like, can you get off the phone with me now? And I was like, Twan, can I help you? And you were like, no.
No. I
like,
remember
leave me
that.
alone.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah. And you were like, hey, let's do some more. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever.
I didn't think that this day would ever come.
Me either. No, I didn't know how to get out of it.
So did you think, tell me how did it get to the point where you were like, I'm not going in?
I remember I had a conversation with my boss, and I told him like there are certain things that I feel like I'm not really good at. I've been managing this department for like 2 years, and I feel like I'm not growing. And then he listed all the stuff that I was doing well.
He likes you.
Well, he likes me.
He believes in you.
Absolutely. If I don't believe in myself, at least the people that I work for believe in me.
Well, it's funny because you're like, you go to the boss and you're like, I'm bad at this, I'm bad at this, I'm bad. And he's like, well, actually, I see growth in all these departments.
That's what I did. Yeah.
And so you went to him to kind of get out of it.
Yeah, totally.
To quit.
Yeah.
Did you want to quit?
Not to quit, but maybe to step back. Maybe I'm not
the director.
Yeah. Maybe I'm not management material. Maybe I should just go back to teaching yoga, doing qigong, being more, and even like just phasing myself out because I'm stressed out.
How long have you been the director?
Well, when I came back, they made me director.
Oh, before that you weren't?
I wasn't. No.
Jesus, what kind of pressure are they throwing at you?
No, it's they made my job more focused so I know what's expected of me. Before I thought everything was expected of me.
Right, you were supposed to be out there training people and then still running the curriculum at the same time.
I was doing everything.
Sweeping up the yoga studio, making the tea, getting the playlist.
In my mind, that's what I was supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It was a lot.
Picking up the incense fragrance. But so you go in there and you say, I can't do this. And he says,
okay, these are the things that you want to improve on. Let's do them. And we made a list. And I said, okay, let's do this. I wake up next morning. I'm thinking about the list. I'm just like, I am overwhelmed. And I just texted him and said, hey, I think I need to take some FMLA. And he said, okay.
What's FMLA?
Family medical leave.
I thought it was going to be fuck my life and soon or something.
No. He was so supportive of it. He handled everything on his side. I did what I needed to do.
So you said, I need family medical leave now.
Yes.
Because you knew you had it.
Yeah.
You knew it was built in.
Yeah. Mm.
And he said, okay.
He said, okay.
And did he say, we have a great mind, body, spirit program if you want to use it? Was that part of it? Like,
he even said, hey, you like to go outside, right? You like to take hikes. Take care of yourself. Yeah.
but was there ever like, because Mountainside has so many, psychological tools in your department. Like, did he say use our world to get better, or did he just say take whatever time you need?
He just said take the time that you need. He asked me what the plan was. I said I was going to go to more meetings. I was going to get a therapist and doing all the things that I had been neglecting. The things that I tell clients to do, but I've been neglecting myself.
Well, I want to say that every person in recovery, the whole gist, especially people in 12-step recovery, have to tell people what saved them, which is all those things. Yeah. However, the people with time aren't necessarily doing the things that save their life. Totally. So you're not any more of a fraud than 99% of people in recovery.
Especially people working in treatment. Because the people in treatment, sometimes, like I did, I made my work my program. Especially during COVID, when there were no meetings out there and it was all online. I said, I'm not going to doing these online meetings. And I went to work every day. I talked to recovery people, and I felt like that was how I was getting my recovery. But when I went on vacation, I was doing staycations, I had nobody to turn to. I had no network anymore. And when I was feeling like really crummy, it'd be like, so where do I go now? I don't have a network. I don't really know where these meetings are. And who am I going to ask for help? Because all my people were at work, either staff members or people who were like in early recovery. And that's not the way to run a program.
No, I mean, the only way that works, because people always ask me if Dopey is my program, and there's aspects of it that are good for my program. But if I'm not in program, if I'm not talking to a sponsor, if I'm not going to meetings, if I'm not sponsoring anybody, my program is in danger. Yeah. But I think with working in, and I think it's similar in some ways, I think in working in a place like this, if you have real personal relationships with these people where you're calling them and talking about yourself, it can somehow help. But I bet you didn't do that.
I didn't do that. I did not do that.
Because you're shy.
Yeah. And I've got 13 years, and I should know how to do this. And I don't want people to know that I am feeling crummy.
Which is totally antithetical to getting well, what you just said. It's so funny how that is. And that's a real danger. Yeah. You get 13 years and I know how to do this, but if you don't do it, you almost forget what you were supposed to do in the first place.
My ego was too big to admit that I was feeling bad. And the way that I talk to people, the confidence that I have in meetings, it didn't match up to being, oh, now I feel crummy. And how
could both things be true?
Yeah, totally. Yep. And that's because I wasn't sharing honestly at meetings that I was okay. And that I wasn't getting to many meetings either. I was in Great Barrington. I moved to Great Barrington 2019, and I didn't go to a meeting in Great Barrington until like 3 or 4 years later. People in Great Barrington didn't know who I was in the recovery community.
Well, that's the source. My Chris, who I started the show with, would he got sober in Great Barrington, then he left Great Barrington and he relapsed so badly, and they were like, come back, and he was like, the source, and he went back to Great Barrington, and like, there's a crazy recovery community there.
It's great. It's absolutely great. When I finally got plugged in, it was like, why did I deny myself this community for such a long time?
Right. Yeah. And talk about the in-between, the in-between of taking your leave, being under the covers, and coming back.
Okay. For about 2 weeks, I think the first 2 weeks of being on leave, like my mind just went nuts. It was just like, you're abandoning these people. How could you take time off? There's so much work to do. What are they going to think of you? All of those thoughts to, like, the range from you're abandoning them to, and then the other side was, yeah, but you're taking care of yourself. Like, none of that. I think all of the negative thoughts that I had, but how people would be reacting to what I was doing was so much louder than, like, the good parts. Like, you're taking care of yourself. You found out that things weren't okay, that you're going to do something good about this. Like, you're being a good example to people that at work who are feeling this way. And I just didn't feel that. I just felt, you're abandoning people. What are they going to think? And for the first 2 weeks, I felt awful, and I didn't want to go anywhere. I was going to meetings more. There's a 7:00 meeting that I started going to. That
at night or in the morning?
7:00 in the morning. I would get there every morning, but I just felt like I was checking off a box. Like every day, I would check off that box, but I still wasn't feeling well. And one of the things I told myself that I would do during my leave was to not isolate. And one day, it was a Friday, I remember waking up late. I looked at the alarm and I was just like, there's no way I'm going to work. It was about 10:00 in the morning. My cats were there and I'm like, they're like meowing because I haven't fed them. I'm like, sorry guys, not yet. And I completely isolated the entire day. I'm still trying to put in like FMLA papers and trying to get all that financial stuff done that you have to do on leave. And I'm completely overwhelmed again. I'm on my couch like at 4 in the afternoon. Haven't seen anybody for like 24 hours. I had this thought in my mind. It was just like, you know what? I'm really tired of being sad. And when I said that, like I think I got like a little dopamine rush. Just that one thought was just like, oh, I don't have to be sad.
That's awesome.
It was unbelievable. It was just like, is this what like happiness is? Just like that little thought, just that change of phrase. And it was just like, I might be okay. I just might be okay. I didn't do anything for the rest of the day. Next day, I went to my Recovery Dharma meeting in the morning. I told everybody what I was feeling. I told them the story about just not wanting to be sad anymore. And like the love that I got that morning was just unbelievable. And it was just finally being vulnerable like that and telling people what was actually going on with this human being. Yeah.
Which is basically it's the template for your whole job, the whole career, and all of recovery. Yeah. It's like when you can make that little change and then you say, okay, the door's open, now I need to go through it. Yeah. And the little change is like, I'm fucking tired of feeling like this. Yeah. And my question I was going to ask in the middle of that was, when you're home for all that time, is where is relapse in your head? Is it relapse without using?
There wasn't I never thought about picking up, but I didn't want to live.
Right. Which is pretty yeah. It's in the same neighborhood. Yeah. And then it's also, like when people say, I relapsed before I ever had a drink. Mm-hmm. It's like, are you in relapse even though you're not using?
I am emotionally, spiritually in relapse.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Totally. Yep.
And then you have this little shift where it's like basically the old cliche, sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yep.
And you're like, okay. And then like, how much are the thoughts echoing in your head? Like, forget the fraud and all that, but I'm not doing what I tell everyone to do. Yeah. I know what I have to do, but you're like, I don't want to fucking do it.
There was not a lot of willingness. Yeah.
And the shift happened when divine inspiration struck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Isn't that the hardest part about your job? Because you can't create
You can't create it. No, that's the thing. It comes when it comes. And I think I had to be so desperate and opened up to that desperation that when I am desperate, like that's when it comes, when my walls are down. And it just goes like, well, what about this? How about that? And then that's when it comes.
All right, Twan, this is what we need to do right now. I think I feel like very, moved by your story, and I can feel like that you're going through it as you tell it, which is always the best way to tell a story. Now, we have an audience, some of whom are, doing fine, some of whom are shooting fentanyl in their neck as we speak, and some of whom are struggle with depression. So why don't we give a little checklist, Twan's checklist for how to know when you're in depression and little things you can do. And the thing that strikes me, and again, you can't make anybody do anything.
Nothing. Yep.
But the second I feel like things are getting away from me is when I just try to get back to program because I know that it works. Yeah. What would you tell somebody who went through what you did? Yep. Like, how do you inspire somebody to feel humility and willingness?
Yeah. The first, I think what shifted for me was I got a therapist whom I hadn't had a therapist for maybe 4 years.
How soon did you get a Therapist?
Within 2 weeks. and she said you need little wins during your day.
Little victories.
Little victories, yeah. And so she said, every time you get a win, put a little sticky note on it, right? And I'm a tech guy. I don't like sticky notes. I go online. I find this app called Habit Now, and I write down the things that I want to get accomplished during the day.
Habit Now. This
Habit
is a good
Now.
app.
Yeah, I love it.
You think it's useful?
I love statistics, and it'll tell you like you'll check off if you did it or not, and then it'll give you statistics at the end of the week, like what percentage of the days you did this. And so I just love numbers. So
that's really interesting considering your job. Where do you use statistics in mind, body, spirit stuff?
Not a lot. I just have that part of my mind.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, because I used to be in IT, so I have this like technical side of me as well.
I wish you could help me. We got a lot of problems in the doposphere. But okay, Habit Now.
Habit Now. I wrote down like 7 things that I wanted to accomplish a day, even little things. One of them was don't snooze. That's a hard one.
What? No napping?
No, don't snooze. Like when you hear your alarm.
Oh, in the morning.
Yeah, in the morning.
No snooze.
No snoozing. Yeah. That was the first one.
You're a snoozer, huh?
I'm a snoozer.
You're a serious snoozer.
Yeah. That's probably the hardest one. Another one was drink a cup of water before you drink coffee. Easy ones.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Another one was meditation in the morning.
You know, I meditated today for the first time in months.
Did you do it because you knew you were going to see me?
I didn't. I did it because I knew that I needed more for my practice. Gotcha. And I went to bed early last night, too. Nice. And I did exercises this morning. Because
another one was movement. Got to have some movement in your day.
Keep going. Yeah. I don't want to brag to you. Keep going.
Movement, like Qigong, yoga, go for a walk, something like that. A recovery meeting. When I went on leave, I went to like 10 meetings a week.
How was that?
And I'm not a meeting guy at all.
How was that?
I loved it.
All 10? How many out of 10 did you say you love?
Every morning, there's a 7 o'clock meeting.
Morning meeting is always good. Yeah.
Every morning I would go to that meeting and see the same people. Monday through Friday. At night, I would go to a meditation meeting on Wednesday, refuge recovery on Thursday. Sometimes I would double up the AA meeting on Friday. Saturdays, my recovery Dharma meeting. Sundays, my 11-step AA meeting. So if I hit every single meeting, it was 10 meetings. And I did that religiously the entire time because I needed structure in my day. If I don't have structure, I am sitting on my couch just watching Netflix. And I've got this bell that goes off every hour. It's a mindful bell. And if I'm watching Netflix and it goes off like 5 times.
It's the you're fucked bell.
Exactly.
What are you watching on Netflix?
Everything. I just like to rot sometimes.
Did you watch Baby Reindeer?
Oh my God.
You watched
Baby Reindeer. That
Serious
was crazy.
business.
Yeah.
Serious business.
Someone this morning told me that was a real story. I had no idea.
Not only is it a real story, it's that
actor.
Guy.
That's
yeah,
what
he wrote the whole
told
thing
me.
and it happened to him. Isn't that
That's
crazy?
amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I loved it. Yeah.
So what else are you watching on Netflix before we get back?
What else on Netflix? I saw that one with the where kids get kidnapped. It's a documentary. They get kidnapped and you go to like that
school.
School.
Yeah. My wife loved that one.
Yeah.
All right. So no Netflix or
not no Netflix,
limited
Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah. You're allowed Netflix, but don't get.
So far we have no snoozing.
No snoozing.
Drink water before coffee. Movement. Recovery meeting.
Therapist. At least once a week. At night, another meditation.
How long are you meditating?
In the morning, an hour.
Damn. What do you do? What is the morning meditation for an hour? I did 4 minutes. I feel less good about myself all of a sudden.
The thing that happened for me, like my meditations got so deep that I started hearing silence. Have you heard silence before?
I mean, probably not.
Silence is incredible. It has like a tone. Silence like has a tone for me. And it has like this weird frequency. And I can hear it when I get really quiet. And then after a while, I noticed that I could hear silence. I could hear what was in the room and then outside the room. So they were layered upon each other, but I still didn't lose the silence. Usually when I heard silence, something else would come in. I would lose the silence. And now I can hear silence, what's in the room and outside the room.
So that's serious deep meditation.
That was serious deep, like, what the hell is going on?
Let me ask you this. Yeah. When you do that and you're hearing because I know what you're talking about. I know that when I meditate, all of a sudden I'm hearing like, the cardinal and then the blue jay and like the dog, whatever. And all these new sounds come into you. But then I think to myself, I'm so cool. I'm hearing all these things and the meditation's over.
Yeah, totally.
So when you get into the 3 layers of silence, is the meditation over?
It's not over because I can still hear it. If I can still hear it, then it's just like, okay, I got it.
I'm here.
I am in. I'm in it. Yeah. And I get this little dopamine rush. And it's like, oh, yeah, here it is. There's silence underneath every single thing that I do. Just like there's peace underneath everything that I do. Even if I don't know it or I can experience it, but it's still there. So the peace is still there. The contentment is still there. I just need to know what to focus on.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I think you should write a book. I think you should write a book because you came back from depression as the director of the spiritual program here. And that has some cachet.
It does.
I think it's a fun idea. I know you're not going to. You're looking at me like, Dave, leave me alone.
I am writing a memoir right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think you should write a meditation book.
A meditation book.
Or not necessarily that. One of these self-helpy books where like, because I think the shit you're talking about right now, when it plays against the misery piece, and that you felt this great imposter syndrome, and now you can sit for an hour and hear 3 levels of silence. That's pretty good.
It is pretty good. Yeah.
I like it. So what else you got? Was there anything else, or is that enough for people?
I think that's what got me out of the depression. And just reminding myself, like, even if I don't want to do qigong or yoga, that a walk counts as movement.
Of course it does.
Yeah, so I just would go for walks. And one day I went for like this 3-hour walk. I had no idea it was going to be 3 hours. I just took a right instead of a left. And it was the best day of my days because it was just like I went on a new adventure.
Are you listening to music? Or are you talking on the phone?
Just walking.
Just walking.
Yep.
What was that?
Yeah, they need space.
I know. I was going to ask if like we could build a Dopey studio in the Mountainside building.
We should.
Well,
yeah.
I don't.
Don't even tell them about it.
Don't. Yeah, find a closet.
That'll be the server room.
Yeah, get to work on the closet. What was the thing I was going to ask? So we have movement, we have therapy, we have
I had to have the therapist because she would challenge my thoughts. I would tell her about the imposter syndrome. I'd tell her about feeling lonely. I would tell her about like my low self-esteem, and then she would counter them. And without having somebody counter them, it's just like, I'm going to sit in this. And all the thoughts that I have are going to be validated by my own thoughts. And they're not very good when I'm by myself and I'm not connecting with people.
In-person therapy or Zoom therapy?
It was Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where was she?
I think she was somewhere in Massachusetts.
All right.
Somewhere.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, how soon into the process and the practice are you starting to feel better?
I feel like once I started making the list of things to check off on, when I was connecting with people at recovery meetings.
What's the app called again?
Habit Now.
I think I'm going to try that.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Once I started doing all those things, I just started feeling better. I started feeling peace. And there were just moments when I'm just like, I'm completely not stressed right now. And then when I started think about work, it was like, am I here to live to work, or am I here to live? And there was even moments when I'm like, maybe I should find something else. Because right now I'm not sure like what I'm doing and what my purpose is. And when I thought about the people that I was helping, I was like, yeah, I have to come back. 'Cause this is kind of like my niche.
Well, you have a good deal.
Yeah.
You have a good deal. It's a good spot to work.
Yeah.
It's like, because you're probably going to be working in this world anyway, and you have such a good deal, how could you not go back?
Yeah, that was part of it too. Yeah.
You couldn't not go back. But what was I going to ask you? See, I get an idea and then I totally forget about it because I'm listening to you. And I'm not usually like that. So you were talking about coming back. You were talking about, oh my God, I had such a very specific question and I don't remember what it was. I don't know. What were we talking about a minute ago?
What were we talking about? Therapists.
The list. When the depression. Oh yeah. So how long you feel the depression changing because you're in the solution.
Yeah, I'm in the solution.
And how quickly does it shift from dark to light?
How quickly? It might have been a week.
Okay. And then you're like, okay, I feel more here.
Yeah.
More present and more
present.
capable. And how soon are you like, I can go back?
I had 3 months approved, but I came back within 2 months.
You had 3 months approved. Were you like, I got to get my shit together, and then I have 3 months, and I need to get my fucking shit together?
Not that. It was more, I'm feeling better, and I know I can help now.
See, I think the book, if we were writing a book, I think the book should be, you're all fucked up. You're like, and maybe it's a movie too.
Yeah.
You're at Mountainside. You're like helping people, but inside you feel like shit, and I'm a fraud. I'm this. I'm that. Then you see a shot of you in bed, and the alarm's going off, and you're not waking up. Throw the alarm, whatever, and then. You have a beard, but maybe you make the beard becomes more scraggly, and you're in the bathrobe, and you're like, I'm not going. And then eventually you get to the point where you say, I have 3 months to come back, and then it's like the training and the comeback, and like how
I'm seeing Rocky now.
Yeah, exactly. How three months can change your life, and then you did it in 2. And you came back, and now. Do you feel way more qualified to do the work you're doing?
I feel way more qualified. I feel really supported, and I feel like people were listening and cared. I feel cared for.
And they cared before.
They did care before, but because of all the noise in my head, I didn't hear it, and I didn't feel it.
And you didn't know how much you needed them.
Yeah.
Because you were like, I'm fine. I got this. I have 13 years. I can do sound bath.
Yeah.
What can you do? And then all of a sudden, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
When you were doing sound bath, because were you still doing them or no?
Yeah, I was still doing them. Yep.
And you were in depression. What is that experience like?
I feel more myself when I'm in front of clients and doing the activities.
So the action kind of breaks the depression.
Absolutely. It's when I was behind my computer, when I was doing things that I wasn't that passionate about. It was when I was like approving time cards, things like that. And I was just like, am I on this planet to approve time cards?
Right. But then it's like, so the answer is action.
Yeah.
And it's like that's something I think about all the time. How do I do as much action that I never get saddled with the worry?
Yeah.
But you can't always be in action.
No.
But the greatest cliche I think ever was right action can bring you to right thinking.
Yeah.
So this is great. This is good for you?
This is good for me. Yeah.
All right, good. Yeah. I think this is fantastic. I think some people will get something out of this.
Totally.
I think you should come to some Dopey Zoom meetings because I think you could help some
Zoom meetings.
You can help the Dopey Nation.
Okay.
And they need a lot of help.
Give me a link.
I'll give you a link.
Yeah.
Thank you, Twan.
Yep.
Awesome.
Totally. Yep.